Hi there, welcome back to my YouTube channel Watch by Ashley, where we take a look at some of the new releases on the big streaming platforms and on video on demand and discuss whether or not they're worth the watch. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at a film that was actually recommended to me by the audience, you guys, after my RRR review. So you guys, a lot of people said I should check out Eega. And that is another film directed by S.S. Rajamouli. And this film originally was released in 2012, but you can check out Eega on Netflix. And if you get the chance, I think you should. So if you liked RRR, this is a bit more of a comedic film, but it deals with a bit of a heavier topic, reincarnation. So typically when I think of Indian films or reincarnation, automatically my mind goes to Om Shanti Om, but here they take a different approach, and it's even more different from like a Cloud Atlas. So it kind of delves more into the direction of Hinduism and reincarnation in the sense that you can come back as an animal, right? So we should treat all living creatures with respect because you never know what animal you're going to come back as. So in this film, our main character passes away and he comes back as Eega, the fly. Like I said, they managed to intertwine comedy with such a serious topic. They do it in a really fun way. It was really entertaining for the hour and 34 minutes. I think they did a pretty good job with a $6 million budget. Keep in mind the film is over 10 years old, but I think that you can overlook the fact that the CGI isn't up to today's standards with the fact that the story is pretty interesting. And I think as a proof of concept, it was really interesting the way that Rajamouli made a housefly the hero of the film. I really like the angles and the camera work that he used here to kind of give you that fly's perspective. We really got to be a fly on the wall in certain aspects. So I'll get into the story a little bit here. So in terms of the plot, it is pretty linear and it is pretty simple, but the themes that are explored are pretty deep, and you really get attached to Eega, which is the fly in Telugu. As hard to imagine as it is a housefly taking on a person and having like a rivalry, they actually really do demonstrate that very well in this film. So when we start the film, we get to meet Nani, and Nani is played by the actor Nani, and he's a very love-stricken young gentleman who is in love with Bindu, played by Samantha Ruth Prabhu. And it's a very sweet young love story that they have here. So Nani is constantly looking after Bindu, whether it's from afar or up close. He's not too far from her to make sure that she's safe, and he does whatever he can to make her life easy. And Bindu is just kind of playing hard to get. At first it seems like she's completely ambivalent to all of Nani's attempts, but really and truly she takes it to heart and she really does appreciate him. And there's a really nice scene where the power goes out while Bindu is trying to work on her micro creations because she's a micro artist, and that does actually come into the plot later on. But Nani tries to redirect light into her room so that she can continue working, and it's very sweet. And then like there's a little trouble in paradise when Sudeep ends up in the picture, and Sudeep is played by Sudeep Sanjeev. And Sudeep is like this businessman who is not used to hearing no, and he's a ladies' man. So when he starts making donations to Bindu's charity and he's expecting like her to be in such awe that she'll want to date him after, he's very disappointed when all of his grand gestures kind of fall flat because Bindu's heart is already taken by Nani. Things don't go the way Sudeep wants because he brings her to this fancy restaurant, he's telling her about how this is going to be the start of their romance, but she's completely distracted by Nani. Like, he's in the area and she just wants to kind of keep an eye on him. And this drives Sudeep crazy because, like I said, he's used to being a ladies' man and getting all the women that he wants. And when he strikes out with Bindu, he is livid. And of course he realizes that the reason for this is Nani. So he essentially kidnaps Nani and kills him. And it's a very unfortunate death for Nani because he didn't do anything wrong. It was just that he was in love with Bindu, right? So victim of circumstance, unfortunately. And in his dying moments, the last thing that Nani's thinking about, of course, is Bindu. And when he's reincarnated as the fly, the only thing he has on his mind is protecting Bindu from Sudeep and killing Sudeep. Like, he vows vengeance. And it's very entertaining to see because it's like a real David and Goliath story here, because you have this little itty bitty fly that's going to take on a man, and you're like, how can that possibly be? But in a very comedic and creative way, Rajamouli depicts the story, and it's very fascinating. And it was very relatable in the fact that Nani the fly was just so irritating and annoying that a fly actually could really derail your life completely. So I'm sure everyone can relate to the idea of like a fly pestering you in a room and following you and hearing that buzzing. Well, imagine like 100xing that and having the fly with you like all the time. The fly's essentially stalking you in the bed with you. Whenever you try to go to a sauna, the fly's bothering you. Like, it's just constantly there. And it gets to the point where you're trying to kill the fly, but you obviously the fly is outsmarting you, thwarting your attempts. And the obsession makes you seem crazy to everyone around you. And so we really get to see Sudeep's fall from grace. And it's entertaining for us, but not for him. Like, he even resorts to witchcraft to try to rectify the situation. And it definitely does go to show just how creative Rajamouli is. I really enjoyed the techniques that he used here in terms of that whole building up the world through the lens of a housefly. So like a lot of the camera angles are very interesting. It's also very commendable for the actors to perform without the fly in the room, just trying to mimic what it would be like to be pestered by this fly. And I think they did a really good job in terms of whether you're following the fly or just having the change of perspective. I thought it was really well executed, and he obviously is a talent, so I can see why he has so many fans in India. So I thought it was a really fun film. I'm really fascinated with the idea of reincarnation, especially in the Hindu religion, just the idea that you can come back. It was just very interesting to see, like, if you had come back as a fly, like, what would you do? Like, how would you get your revenge? And I really liked that. It was enjoyable. It was a good time. I think the film is a solid 7 out of 10, so if you have the chance, give it a watch. If you enjoy the content but haven't subscribed yet, please consider hitting that button, as it will definitely help me a lot in terms of growing the channel, and I really appreciate it. But that's all I have for you today, so I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.